Hey everybody, and happy Sunday! As I promised, I'm going to help you guys pronounce certain words throughout the Jaydür books. You see a little bit of different languages throughout Bounty of the Everdark, and a couple words thrown out here and there in Ataya. But coming with the first book in the Chronicles of Jaydür, The Lost Voice, you're going to be seeing a lot more. Mainly Elvish. My form of Elvish in the series is actually based off of the Romanian language. Then you have the Common Tongue, which is, in my mind, it sounds more like the Mid-Atlantic accent that you see throughout fantasy movies today. You can probably go and YouTube that and see what exactly I'm talking about. It's not an actual real British accent. People call it the fake British accent. Besides that, you do have the language of the Eastern realms. The darker creatures, the Centaurians, the pixies, the goblins, and they speak a language called Lançir. And that is more, it's got a lot of the guttural throat sounds throughout their words. Mach, ech, norlino, norinthak. Which means something along the lines of, that woman is as stupid as you are. When you see the little C's with the little accent under it, in Lançir, that is the sound. Kind of like you're hawking a loogie, you know? I know, that's gross, I'm sorry. Now, Elvish is a little different. It's a little smoother, it's flowy, like you would imagine, you know, Elvish in a lot of fantasies these days. As you all know, I write gateway fantasy, so I kind of stick with certain tropes throughout my books, including some of the good old-fashioned cliches with the elves. You know, the tall, slender, majestical type. Maybe not quite majestical. They're not all majestical. Some of them are. But their language is flowier. Before I go into that, let's just go over some names and places that are mentioned throughout some of the books so far. And we can start with Nataya. This is how you pronounce her name. Nataya. A lot of people are really unsure of how to pronounce that, and I kind of hoped that sticking that H in the name would help people just sort of at least say Nataya. I kind of like to use a little bit of phoneticness in my spellings so that people could really just look at a word and figure it out really easy. Just sort of get it right off the bat. So it really just looks more intimidating than it really is. In Nataya, you have Orin and Kale, Moriel, Terilyn, which, you know, you end up calling her Terry anyways. Now, the little boy who captures Nataya. No, it is not William. It wasn't ever supposed to be William. I never meant it to be William. It is Willayan. There's a difference. Lyra is the fairy city that Nataya is from. Poet is the name of the voice of Maer, which is the voice of wind. So that'll take us right into the voices. You have the voice of Maer. Like I said, Maer. It's Elvish for wind is Maer. The voice of Apan. Apan is water. The voice of Dirda is earth. Dirda is earth. The voice of fire is folk. So folk. You have the different places throughout the lands too. So we can go over how to pronounce some of those places. Let's start at the map here and look at the top of the map. There's a little windmill there. And that's a city called Maeve, and that is a city of the wind elves. It's sort of like a hub for all the wind elemental elves to stay. Of course, nobody really stays in the hub. You have the few that are sort of family bound or territory bound because their families owned land and things like that. But generally, all races are pretty widespread, except for the darker races which stay to the east. To the left of that, you have a large tree called Jaydür, which is the largest elven city within the Elven Woods. You have Gaia Fault. There's Lyra next to that. Beneath Gaia Fault, you have Noveat, which you see in The Lost Voice. To the left of that is Fulcavia. Then Aquinia to the left of that, and Port of Farn right beneath that. Going back towards Novea, we have Temple of Panthea. The DH letters in my Elvish make a th sound, a TH sound. So that's Temple of Panthea. You have Birdsfield, Sanctuary, Quarry Spires is not Elvish. Doruth, that's a kingdom that belongs to the family of Doruth, which you see in Bounty of the Everdark. Shargrove is beneath that, which you will see in another story that's coming out soon. I will share more on that in a bit. Then you have that white line, which is the White Wall. Gulmir is a city within that wall where the Vicinians live. That's, it's Vicinian Ran territory, basically. And if you don't remember, the Vicinians originally were half-elf, half-human creatures, but over time they sort of became their own race. You know, the hybrids made babies with the hybrids, and they became the Vicinians. So, beneath Gulmir, you have Corruption at the Wall. That's not Elvish. The Dealuri Grounds. Sustain, Korima, Kinsma, and the Port of Beltune. What you'll notice throughout a lot of Jaydür, including in the title, is that my U's have the 2 dots over it. In Elvish, those make the U sound, so it's Jaydür. I hear people say Jaydür. It's not Jaydür, it's Jaydür, or Jaydür, if you don't, you know, you can't roll your R's. I can't actually roll my R's, like, to hold it rolling. I can only do very short rolls. That's my failure as a Romanian. The Port of Nernuin. Then you have Norin. Then you have Galben Hills right beneath that. Galben in Romanian means yellow or gold. And the Galben Hills in Jaydür are yellow. They are full of yellow flowers. They're fields and hills that are just covered in these flowers. Port of Llandug. Say it right, Llandug. The human realm is easy. You know, you have reed, stone jar, tall rock. Beneath them, you have the Port of Ryskendur, which the ports are more Vicinian ran. Some of the ones more towards the top are a combination of Elvish and Vicinian. They are sort of the 2 main races throughout the world. You have the Moari Sea, or Elvish, Moari. The Senate Sea is essentially the calm sea, the serene sea. Senin in Romanian means serene. Going towards Sinstar Peninsula, we have Sickle, Gaur Stronghold. Gaur, Gaura in Romanian is a hole. Trollfell's Death Crater, easy. Heim City, which is a dwarven city there at the edge. Far East, Northern Highlands. I love this word. Right above, right in the Northern Highlands, you have Rosknaut. And that is probably one of the harshest words on this map. Voluminar Pass. That's easy. Well, I think it's easy, but, you know, I invented all this, so it's different. But I think that's basically the whole map. Oh, I should probably tell you the characters of this world, of The Lost Voice. You have some of the characters in The Lost Voice that their names may look a little intimidating. Not so. You have Kaya. She is the main character. She is the voice of Apan, the voice of water. Apa is water in Romanian, by the way. The voice of Folk is fire. Folk. Folk is the Romanian word for fire. There's no nice way to say that, I guess. You have Solon, Rongwa. Then you have Neoni, Ardun. You have Kaya Fourier and Arkai, who's just Arkai. There's no more there. He has no, full name or something. Well, technically he does, but people can't pronounce it. I can't pronounce it, so we stuck to Arkai. Then you have the wizard Daimon. You have Atar Fourier, who is Kaya's father. Besides that, you have also a couple words that are mentioned throughout. You have the Eladwen, which is the Elven Light. Renathan, which is the name of the spirit world. You have the Teren, which is the time spirits. Besides that, everything else that you see is pretty much used in a sentence. I have a few sentences that I could actually share. You have something called the Eskalhen, and this is the Elven darkness. It is a phase that Kaya has to undergo to become a voice fully. Her essence of the voice inside of her, it's almost like a separate consciousness at one point, and it shuts down her physical sight so that she can learn to gather information and learn how to absorb information and knowledge through visions that she picks up through different realms, different dimensions. And you learn about this in the first book, but you only see the scene in the second book where she's actually going through it. And I'm going to read this part for you guys, just so you can get a sense of what the Elvish is supposed to sound like when you read these books. So you have Kaya, and she says, Samsin tunurik, lem am seres em, which means, I am in darkness, yet I see him. Nachim et naur, which is a mountain of fire. Lendach lanith yarne nobenai, from which rivers carry the dead. Fumen I ofra layamenit Jaydür, smoke and poison consume Jaydür. I eni nopte urith talmena, and in the night cries folly. Sund ran balog monti an en rimon, which means when evil is numerous as the stars. So that's my Elvish. You make it flowy. You draw out some of the letters. Pay attention to the accents, I guess as you would any other language. And if you want, if it helps, say it in Galadriel's voice, because that's what I do. Well, guys, I hope that was as enjoyable for you as it was awkward for me. If there's anything that I have not mentioned that you remember reading in one of my books, point it out to me. I will probably have an updated version of this video at some point after the release of The Lost Voice. Maybe a cleaner version, maybe just Instagram videos. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But for now, here's just an intro to my languages of Jaydür. I hope you all have a fantastic Sunday.